Why do you think that James Harden was fined 100K for talking shit on Daryl Morey? Why do you think he was fined 100K? Why just why do you think he was fined $100,000? Is what he's and I heard people going like this. So you're going to fine a guy for venting his opinion? You bet your ass I am. You bet your ass I might have fined his ass $1 million. Why do you think the league fined him? Slander. So let me ask you this. If you were trying to sell your house at top market value, would you want the homeowner that lives there going around and telling everybody, hey, screw that place. That guy blows. I hate working there. That guy's not good. They lied to me. So when you're looking for a dance partner to try to get rid of this idiot and this headache, how many people do you think are going to stand up when you got guaranteed contracts in the NBA where players are going to go like this? Some have no trade clauses in their deal, and some are going to go, well, I don't want to go work there. You limit the ability of movement on being able to have, you give Daryl Morey the ability to move that guy. Hence, you diminish the product. Why wouldn't you find his stupid ass? I mean, you're going to go buy the home, you look at it, and all of a sudden, the homeowner's in the newspaper going, hey, the ceiling leaks. This thing's been, checked by earthquake people. There's a structure issue. It's not really a great place to live. That's why we're getting out of here. You think that helps you? How do you think that helps you moving if you are trying to trade the guy? That's what this is about, doing business in public. See, James Harden is a baby. He's immature. He's played his whole career like that, immature. Darius Slay's immature. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see immature people. Okay? Darius Slay had one bit of adversity hit him. And he opened his mouth and it cost him $3.5 million. Everything else in Philly's been great for him. A lot of winning. But when something came down to his career and them moving him, opened his fly hole, and it cost him $3.5 million. Yeah, of course he's going to be fine. Rightfully so. Let the process, hey, you don't have to be public. Well, see, the NBA guy's got it made, though, because he's guaranteed the money no matter what. And he could be an asshole. NFL guys, you don't see that shit like that. When's the last time you ever heard an NFL guy go, I'll never play there? Can you tell me? He was currently under contract, and he says, I'll never play there. Shit, even Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay never said that. It's business. James Harden is a baby, and it reflects in his career. He ate his way out of Houston, cried his way out of Brooklyn, and now he's moaning his way out of Philly. You were never going to win with that. Never. If James Harden had Jimmy Butler's mentality and his drive, James Harden had 5 NBA championships by now. Who's ever wanted to play with him? Let me guess, Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's not a leader. So let me get this right. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden on one team. What do you think your chances are of winning? None. Yeah, but Seals are great. It just shows you. If you don't have the intangible that Hurts has, doesn't matter how great you are. There's a great example. James Harden, Jimmy Butler. Who would you want on your team? Who would you want on your team? Jimmy Butler, James Harden. By the way, how many times has Jimmy Butler been traded? 3? He doesn't get along with everybody. I don't care about that. He and Spoelstra almost came to blows. Did you see that little clip this last year? Where those two guys almost came to blows? I love that. Dude, it ain't about not liking you or respecting you. It's about being competitive with you. Hey, competitive people, man, will say some shitty things at times. Competitive people will say shitty things. Who would you rather have leading you? James Harden or Jimmy Butler? I saw a guy take a G League team to the NBA Finals this year. I saw a guy on a team with an MVP who couldn't get out of the first round. And theoretically, their own way. You know, one of the great things that Kevin Durant was taught a lesson on, and this goes into what you guys tell me all the time about Hurts. Kevin Durant figured it out. Once he got away from Steph Curry, he ain't leading anybody. And Steph showed you too, I don't need you. Won another title without him. That's Curry's greatness. Guys like Curry and Wade who make you feel that the team's yours, but it's really yours. Prop you up and make you feel good about yourselves. Okay? Kevin Durant found out who he was in Brooklyn. He's a B player. He's in where he's like in an orchestra. And Jimmy Butler and guys like Steph Curry and Jalen Hurts, they're the orchestra leaders. And you're the third trombone player in the third row in the symphony. That's who you are. There's leaders, and then there's people that sit in the choir. Hurts is a guy who leads the band. Steph, Magic Johnson, Tom Brady. It ain't Kevin Durant. Absolutely not. All right. I want to reset and go back a little bit on we started in the NFC, and I'll go back there, and I want to hit on this in this hour here a little bit. Also, a little bit on the topic when people were talking about Jonathan Taylor. DeAndre Swift is the perfect running back for the Eagles, not Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor doesn't make any sense on this roster. This is not an I-back offense. The most intimidating runner you have is Hurts. Hurts and Swift could be a better dynamic duo than Sanders and Hurts. Who do you fear? Watch this. So, Jalen Hurts in a passing setting. Swift in open space versus corners. Or Miles Sanders running into a linebacker. What do you fear more? I think this could be an upgrade to Miles Sanders. And people are like, well, should they make a run at Jonathan Taylor? Why? This doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. Swift's a perfect back. And that's why Howie, okay? That's why Howie Roseman went after McCaffrey at the trading deadline. Dude, DeAndre Swift in open space or Miles Sanders in open space. You become more versatile and more deadly with Swift than with Sanders, if healthy. I didn't realize he had 50 catches last year. You put 50 catches and 500 yards in that offense, good grief. Someone's going to have a big year in pass catching. Because, I mean, Jalen Hurts might have 1,000 yards rushing. Dude, there's going to be, if Swift stays healthy and gets 50 catches and 500 yards receiving, adds another 500 rushing, Jalen Hurts might get 1,100 yards rushing this year. Man, someone's going to have, like Goddard might be enormous. Like you could see a 1,300-yard year from Goddard if healthy. Okay? Just saying, man. And Devin goes, Jalen's got to be careful. He knows that. Unlike Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Okay? Those guys aren't smart enough. The only thing that keeps Josh Allen healthy, what's the only thing you think that keeps Josh Allen healthy? What's the only thing that keeps him healthy? He's 6'6", 260. That's the only thing that keeps. If that guy was smaller, he would be broken into a billion pieces. The way he runs the ball and how reckless he is. I mean, his size is the only thing saving him from a constant beating. I'm looking at rosters, and I did this before we got Philly 500 on. Sam Howell looked good last night. I'll tell you what. Hey, if Ron Rivera wins 9 games, does he keep his job in Washington? Or do you think Josh Harrison then would want to make a move? Or is that good enough to do this? Why don't we fire Rivera and give it to Bieniemy? If they win 9 games and they're sniffing around a playoff, does Bieniemy get that job? I think he would have proven himself. I think Sam Howell looks different. Just by the way he drops back now and the way he's throwing the ball. Would you give Eric Bieniemy that job? I might. Like, let's do this. If Sam Howell wins 9, 10 games and he throws for 3,900 yards and 28 touchdowns or something like that, he might get that job. And I don't know of anything outside of like getting to a conference title game. I think Ron's got to get to a conference title game, maybe a divisional game to save his job. But if Bieniemy turns Sam Howell into a quarterback and they win 9 games, he could get that gig, man. I think Brian Daboll, I think people look at Daniel Jones, and I think you're giving this guy way too much credit. Look, better coaching, I get it. He looked better last year in spurts. But when he had to play against big teams, he just looked out of place. I think he's got a ton of room to grow. I mean, I look at the Giants, man. I mean, they're right around 500. That's a 500 team. Eagles, I got them at 11 wins because of the schedule. Because the amount of tough coaches and quarterbacks you got to play. That schedule's brutal. You got to stretch in there. You better not get hurt. You're not as deep as the year, or I should say deep and experienced. I got the Cowboys at 10. That might be a gift. I got the Lions at 11. Probably too generous. What's that run game going to look like? Brand new guys in the run game. You're adding components in the secondary, a corner and safety. New linebacker in the building. The kid Campbell they got. Is he going to play right away? Are you going to move him in from Will to Sam to Mike? I don't know. I mean, I think Hutchinson, I watched him in the exhibition season. He looks better already. I think the Bears are a 6-win team. DJ Moore will probably add more. You know what? I'll tell you this. I'm hoping for Justin Fields to look better. Because you know what I like about him? He's working hard to try to be a better player. He wants to be better. I'm hoping for him, man. Tell you what, he's a great athlete. And if they can help him out by getting more pieces around him and helping him, hey, could you see? Hey, watch this. If you're the Bears, would you make a move for Mike Evans if the Bears have money and draft picks? Would you put Mike Evans on that team on the other side of DJ Moore for him? I might make that move. Why not? You guys added A.J. Brown in Philly. Right? You had Mike Evans in Chicago. Think, where did Evans play his college ball? A&M. No tie in there, but I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I thought Sills did not like Eric Bieniemy because it was all Reed. No, I said that he had to go to Washington to prove himself because it was all Reed. Yes. Okay. Andy, are you under the impression, Senor, that Andy Reid was actually the offensive coordinator in Green Bay when he was there with Mike Holmgren and he was calling plays? Or are you under the impression that that's how that played out? Didn't he have to prove himself? I went back and looked at the headlines in the Philadelphia Inquirer when Andy Reid got hired in Philly. Didn't seem to be a real big welcome wagon. You guys do remember that, revised history fans? Or do I have to go back and show them to you? I don't remember this welcome wagon for Andy Reid when he got the Eagle job. Okay? Andy Reid. Let's just do the, okay, you're right. That's right. So you guys were sold that you hired the quarterback coach in Green Bay. Hey, this is a great hire. We hired the clipboard holder. What's the difference between Andy Reid having to prove himself in Philly and Eric Bieniemy having to prove himself in Washington? He was a quarterback coach in Green Bay. Had no influence at all in the play calling in Green Bay. Zero. It was all Holmgren. And if you go back, every Philly fan was like, who's Andy Reid? Now he's Big Red. Eagle fan revising history as usual. Speaking of the Packers, I'm more encouraged by Jordan Love. I am. I'm more encouraged by Jordan Love. Okay? I think they can win 9 games. I think not Leslie Frazier, but Brian Flores being added as DC up in Minnesota will help. I still think they're light in the secondary. Minnesota could be a better team, but then again, how are you replacing 1,100 rushing yards? Would the Colts make a play for Jonathan Taylor? I would say this to you. Okay, so wait a minute. You move out Cook because you don't want to pay $8 million, and you got Taylor, and you're going to rent him for a year, and then move him. How's that make sense? Right? The South, the Bucks win 6 games. Baker Mayfield. Look at how many chances Baker Mayfield got to be a starter in the NFL. 1, 2, and now 3. 3 chances to be a starter in the NFL. Boy, it must be nice to have all them lives. I mean, I don't get it. You know what he is. You know who Baker Mayfield is. How does a guy like that get a chance to start? That makes me think Wentz is going to get a starting job somewhere when a guy gets hurt. Baker Mayfield is not better than Carson Wentz. He's not. He has nothing on his resume that makes me say that. There's no redeeming quality that he has that he's better than Carson Wentz. Nothing. I mean, Wentz is a better player. Hey, Wentz's last 3 years, his last 2 years are better than Baker Mayfield's. I don't get it. Okay. I think the Saints can win 12 ball games this year. I'm high on the Saints. Okay? I'm very high on the New Orleans Saints this year. I really am. I think they got the defense. I think they got the offensive tools. I think they got a pretty good offensive line. I think Derek Carr, I don't know about you, but it looks like Derek Carr went and saw like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something, and he locked himself in a gym, and he looks like a different dude. That guy looks bigger. He's ripped. I think this guy wants to prove a lot of people wrong. He's in a lesser conference. He doesn't play anybody. There's nobody on that schedule that they won't be. I'll tell you this. Every team the Saints play on that schedule, they'll be favored. They'll be favored in every game. Okay? They'll be favored in every football game. I'm going to say this about the Panthers, and now this is a prediction. How many people think Bryce Young makes it through the year? Whew. Hey, Robert. Robert goes, Wentz had 3 opportunities. What was wrong with, hey, he didn't do anything wrong in Indy. He had a great year in Indy. The owner sucks. Not with that old line, says Tone. Man, he's a little dude, too. Frank's got a lot of, hey, you need to take a page out of Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds. I'm going to get me the 5 biggest dudes I can find, and I'm not getting hurt. Man, they got a long year ahead of them. Andy Dalton will be the starting quarterback in that building. Okay? Hey, Maniac, name me 1 year that Baker Mayfield had a better season than Carson Wentz in Carson Wentz's best years. Give me his best year and Carson Wentz's best year. Even 2 years ago when he threw 27 touchdowns and 7 picks. Okay? 3,800 passing yards. Had a 9-8 record in the AFC and lost to a pretty good Jags team at the end of the year, now that we find out. It was the coach, not the team. Wentz didn't play that bad, and he played actually very good. Actually, that's the best year that a quarterback has had in Indianapolis since Andrew Luck was there, what Wentz did. Let's do this. Carson Wentz's year in Indy was better than any quarterback season any quarterback had since Andrew Luck. And we know what that owner thinks of Andrew Luck. I say the Seahawks win 11 ball games. And I think they're going to win the West. I said this to open the program with the Niners. And I'll say this to my boy Niner guy. Why are you debating? What is it? Why are you debating and why are you experimenting at quarterback with 2 weeks to go to the start of the season with Trey Lance with a Super Bowl roster? Why are you experimenting? I mean, you're doing a disservice to the other 52 guys by doing this. It really is. You're now, the 49ers are losing time. Look at what the Eagles are doing. They waste no time. They move off of issues as quick as they possibly can within restraints of money. Got to always factor that in now because of the cap. And you know what? Hey, telling everyone, do you know why the Eagles can move quickly off of mistakes? Why do you think that is? Like the Cowboys and some of these other teams, Rams. Why do you think the Eagles can move off of mistakes quicker? Because they pay their guys. They pay them up front of the contract instead of the back end. So when the cap hit comes, they're not annihilated like everyone else is. And you're not carrying giant numbers like the Rams did with Todd Gurley and with Clay Matthews Jr. for 5-6 years. They pay their guys. That's why they're able to move off of issues. It's the money. Follow the money. The Eagles make a mistake on someone. It's never, look, there were 2 gigantic mistakes since I've been covering the Eagles that Howie made, that he's not made and will not make, I think, again. That Alshon Jeffries thing had about 2 years of $5 million a clip. And I'm going into the 3rd year covering the team. I think it was 2 years that I got here that they still had on that contract. Last year was the final year, I think it was, with the $5 million from Jeffries. And when they had to eat that $33 million off of Wentz. Other than that, the dead money, man, it's fallen off. They're not doing any of that shit. That's why, hey, look at the dead money the Cowboys have off of the Amari Cooper deal. I mean, see, when you backload a contract, this is what the owner sees. Well, I'm not paying him a lot of money. You know, I may be paying him a signing bonus, but I'm not paying him the full context of the contract. And so they think if you sign a 5-year contract, you cut the guy after 2, you lose the signing bonus money, obviously, but I don't have to pay the additional 3. And that's how they equal it up. But see, what the Eagles do is, he's proven to us he can play. Here's $25 million. Here's it up front. Here's all the money. Jalen Hurts' contract's really a 3-year deal. It's a 3-year deal. And he continues to play the way he is. They'll keep adding deals and restructuring contracts, and they'll keep adding extensions onto it. And you know how they'll add the extensions? With sign-in money. And guaranteed, though. Here's $100 million guaranteed. You know what that cap hit is? Nothing. Because they'll come in and go, here's $100 million, but the base salary is $1.5 million or $8 million, whatever it is. Would you rather have the money in the bank or the promise of a stamp in an envelope 2 years from now? Put the money in the bank. I'm good. I don't want anything promised to me because everybody reneges on it. Everybody reneges on contracts. Okay? Give me the money now. And that's what the Eagles do. The 49ers, I just don't get that gamble. The Rams, here, let's go back here. Would you trade Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, and Aaron Donald at the trading deadline, knowing full well you don't have? Hey, when's the next time the Rams have a draft pick? Is it 26? Is that the next time they have a first-round pick? Or is it 24? It's either 24, 20. I forget where it is. I can't remember the next time they got a first-round pick. What's the point of paying a wide receiver $18 million and a D lineman 30 when you're going to win 5 games? Why in the world would you do that? You could trade Cooper Kupp to the Packers. To the Patriots. You could trade Aaron Donald. Who needs to the Steelers? Trade him in the AFC. Pass rushers are needed. Trade him to the Jags. I don't believe Aaron Donald's going to finish the season a Ram. What's the point of winning 5 games, being on the worst defense in the NFL, and you're paying a 32-year-old defensive tackle $30 million? Explain that to me. What's the point? What's the point of having him? What's the point? You're on the worst defense in the league. You're going to win 5 games. You have no future if you're Les Snead and Kevin Demoff. And you got a $30 million DT. And he's 32 and he's talking retirement. Rams might as well go to Stetson Bennett. Absolutely. What's the point of playing Matthew Stafford? You're not winning anything. They have a horrible O-line. They got no running game. Sell tickets to stupid fans? Let me say this to you, Bear. You must be under the notion that Rams fans are like Eagle fans or Bills fans, that they show up to games anyway, even when they're winning. I can't tell you how many times opposing teams have gone into those buildings and they absolutely outnumber Rams. Whoever said the city of Los Angeles wanted the Rams back? Are you people, I don't remember there was this gigantic clamor to get Rams fans, the Rams back in LA. The NFL was doing fine. Do you know for over 20 years, Rams might as well go? Hey, do you know for over 20 years, the NFL kept growing television-wise, and you don't have a football team in New York City or LA. You didn't have it for 25 years. NFL was doing fine without those number 1, number 2 markets, weren't they? I mean, I don't remember them going, hey, let's get the Rams back here. Oh, and by the way, let's add the Chargers. They only did it to raise the value of the teams. My business is worth more money in LA than in St. Louis and in San Diego. And the Raiders, the same thing. They didn't move these teams because the fans were bad fans. They moved them to raise the value of the teams, taking advantage of fans, as they always do. I mean, you think they give a shit about you? Take a look at your season ticket prices. Arizona's a 2-win team. Hey, you want to hear what the craziest thing? Tone, I don't know if you know this. Do you know that the television packages and NFL properties, if the Eagles go 17-0 and the Arizona Cardinals go 0-17, you know they share from the same pot? Each team makes the same number. So why would Michael Bidwell give a shit about whether he's 17-0 and winning when he makes the same money as Philly? Why would he care? Why would he care? They're a 2-win team. Well, we're a better organization. You think Michael Bidwell cares that the Eagles are a better organization than his. He sees his value of his team go up 23.1% every calendar turn of the year. Why would he give a shit? So here, I have the Saints with 12 wins. I have the Lions, Vikings, Seahawks, Niners, and Eagles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7. Hey, dude. Niners 11, Seahawks 11, Eagles 11, Lions 11. How about this? I never thought of this. So what if you get 2 11-win teams out of the North? You get 2 11-win teams out of the North, and you get 2 11-win teams out of the West. And the Saints win 12. That means the Cowboys at 11-6 might not make the playoffs. Only 7 go. I mean, right? All right. Over in the AFC, Dolphins. Aren't the Dolphins maybe the most complex team to think about this year as we get ready for the start of the season? How do you look at the Dolphins? I see 10 wins, right? I see 10 wins. Could Tua throw for 4,500 yards? Yeah. Yeah. But if he's healthy, look, man, could the Dolphins win the East? If Tua plays 15 games, do they win the East? I got the Bills 12 wins. Why wouldn't I? They won 13 last year. And according to Eagle fans, Josh Allen had a horrible year. You got to love Eagle fans. Josh Allen, he's making a step backwards. He was 13-3. How did he make a step backwards? Boy, because he's in the AFC and he's got to play against Burrow and Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert and the rest of these guys, Trevor Lawrence. How is that taking a step back when you got – do you understand Jalen Hurts played against Daniel Jones and Christian McCaffrey in the conference title games? You understand it's a little different when you got to play if you're Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen. Prepare yourself to see the backup. Tua's out, I know. I mean, how do you feel about the Buffalo's offensive line? I don't know. They were 13-3 last year. And by the way, that guy's beating Mahomes. As your guy? Just checking. Keeping it real here and keeping score here a little bit. That team was 13-3 despite Josh Allen's turnovers. So what if he has 5 less turnovers this year? They're 14-2 in the AFC? So there's room for improvement. Get this. A guy like that just said, well, Sills, he had turnovers and they were 13-3. So there's room for improvement then. Wow. Okay. There ain't that much room for improvement with the Eagles. So you're telling me if he improves a little more, they're 14-2, 15-2, whatever. 14-3? They could have been 14-3 last year anyway. Wow. That's quite a statement for the Bills. They got one wideout. Kid's a pretty good ball player, man. Patriots. 8 wins. I see it kind of there. 8 wins. Okay. Quan goes, if Diggs goes down, they're 8 wins. Well, if A.J. Brown goes down, you're 7 wins. Who's your number 2, Quez? They're not relying on too many people in Buffalo. You're relying on a lot of folks in Philly. They don't rely on a lot of people in Buffalo. They don't rely on a lot of people in Kansas City. There's one dude they rely on. Kelsey and no one else. Yeah. You got a lot of people that can't get hurt in Philly. And by the way, if I'm Buffalo, trading deadline comes, hey, Rams, why don't you send Cooper Kupp's ass up here? How you doing? Or Mike Evans down with the Buck. I think that's a play. You lose a wide receiver. How about Odell Beckham's not what they think in Baltimore and he's not healthy? Does Baltimore call Mike Evans? You're out of the conference too. Interesting. Hey, man, I see I think the Jets are going to be better next year, not this year. Like 9. I think they got the best defense in the NFL. I do. Linebacker core is good. D-line's great. Secondary's exceptional. All young. I want to see those guys do it again. I'll give them that. But I like the Jets. That Jets defense is one of the better units in the league. Kenny Pickett looked pretty decent, man. He's looked good. He's looked better than he did a year ago. He's getting a little better. He looks a little better, man. Ravens is going to be interesting to see what they do. I'd like to see them get a running back, but I'd like to see Kareem Hunt land there. I think the Browns are a 10-win roster, and if they could put it together, they could win 11, 12 games. I just got to see them do it. I can't give them more than 10. The Bengals are all going to go on the back of Burrow. Now, does Burrow miss the first couple games? That could be a determining factor on who wins the North if he's not able to play in the first quarter pole of the season. Jags, I think, win 12 games. I think they're good. They're well coached. It's hard. Who would have thought this? The Jaguars are well coached and they have a great roster. Oh, wait. Doug Peterson's there. And Trent Baalke has rejuvenated his career with that disaster he had when he was in San Francisco. It's crazy. The Texans, they haven't named C.J. Stroud yet as a starter, but they will. Colts are a 5-win team. What a train wreck of a job. It's the second worst job in the NFL. I think the Titans, because they're well coached, Mike Vrabel, 9 wins. But they're not going nowhere. I think they want Malik Willis to be the starting quarterback there, I think. Where are you going with Tannehill? Sills has everyone winning 12 games. I have 2. No, I have 3 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 out of 32 teams winning 12 games. Everyone? I got 4 out of 32. See, Micah, that's a prime example on how people will take less than 1% of what I say and make something into something I didn't say. 4 teams out of 32. Everyone? Okay. Everyone is a 12-win team. I got the Chiefs 1-12. Well, you know. Raiders are better than I thought. Got the Chargers winning 11. By the way, the AFC's better than the NFC. The Broncos, we'll see. 10-9, somewhere in there. All right, let me take a timeout. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.